Ladies and gentlemen, I have to start out this video by saying this is your spoiler warning. If you have not played the campaign for Modern Warfare 2 yet, or you just don't want it spoiled, do not watch the rest of this video because that is essentially what this video is. If you couldn't tell by the title, this is the ending explained for Modern Warfare 2. And similar to Modern Warfare in 2019, this ending definitely needs an explanation. As far as this ending goes, some of it is very straightforward, but other parts are very confusing, and I guarantee you there's a lot of things people have missed. I guarantee a lot of people making videos like this on YouTube are going to miss a lot of the little details that I am going to cover in this video, and that's why I do these videos, and I think that's why you guys enjoy these. Now, I've got a lot of campaign and a lot of story content planned over the next week, and if you want to see some of that, all you got to do to show me is hit that like button. It shows me you enjoy these type of videos, want to see more, and that's what we'll continue to do throughout Modern Warfare 2, because as you're going to tell by the ending, there's a lot more to come in this story. Now, as far as the ending goes, there's essentially two different endings with a little post-credit scene that is crazy. So that is what we're going to dive into off the start. Then I'm going to explain the endings, and then I'm going to point out those little details that you probably missed. So without further ado, here is the first part of the ending.
Officials are saying a power surge is to blame for an explosion over downtown Chicago last night, due to severe winds leaving thousands of residents in the dark. Electricity is expected to be restored by this evening. In other news,
CIA shit.
Creative writing.
I'll never tell.
AQ. Iran.
Cartels, Russians.
Shepard. Shadow. They got past us.
Without a head start. It's cutting the heads off snakes. Any son of Shepard?
Totally off the grid.
No, we'll find him.
Now we've got bigger fish. I've done some digging on the Russians.
Well, that's a dirty job.
Ultra-nationalists ambushed that convoy, John.
Okay, this is over.
No, it's not. They're working with someone new. We don't know his name.
He's not new.
Who is he?
Makarov.
So, Makarov is back. I actually made a video 3 years ago claiming that he was coming back and the tie-in to Modern Warfare 2019, so we were correct there. Now, this leads some big questions. First of all, we have to explain the first part of the ending where they're talking about General Shepard and Shadow Company and what is happening with that in regards to the story. But as far as Makarov goes, the one thing that I haven't seen anyone talk about and a lot of people have missed is the fact that Kate Laswell did not know who Makarov was, but Captain Price did. How is that possible? If we can understand that, we can understand a lot more about Makarov. But that is not the only thing that we saw in regards to Makarov. We got a post-credit scene that is quite literally mind-blowing.
Дамы и господа, наш самолет завершил набор высоты. Вы можете расстегнуть ремни.
Сейчас вам будет подан обед. Горячий вы можете выбрать в меню.
Beef, chicken, or fish, gentlemen?
Salads, please.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. No Russian is back. And if you followed Call of Duty for a long time, you'll know what this means. But don't worry, we'll dive into it before the end of the video. Now, you can see that the text message is from M, aka Makarov. But the part that they don't explain is who is holding the phone. And what if I told you I have an answer for that? It won't really tie into this video, so if you want to see that, hit that like button. Let's say if this video gets 20,000 likes, I will do that video and explain who is holding that phone, because I have a pretty good theory. But before we dive into all of that, I first have to break down the full game, how the ending ties in, but don't worry, we'll get to Makarov. So the story of Modern Warfare 2 begins in Iran. Our heroes, including Ghost and Soap, are tracking down General Hassan, the main bad guy within the game. Now, at this time, they try to hunt him down, and he keeps escaping, and by the end of the mission, they end up finding a shipping container. Inside that shipping container, they find a ballistic missile, but not just any ballistic missile, an American ballistic missile.
Laswell, this is Ghost. We got something.
Tell me you found Hassan.
Ghost. Take a look at this.
Ghost, do you have Hassan?
Negative. We found a weapons cache. Hassan's got missiles. They're American.
So they find American ballistic missiles in the hands of Al-Qatala, which is very alarming. But what's even more alarming is when Kate Laswell and General Shepard have a little bit of a conversation about this, General Shepard's response is very strange.
If Hassan is moving missiles, he has a smuggling partner.
Well, then I would advise you to find out who that is.
Give my team 2 hours with those missiles, sir. I will know everybody who's ever breathed on them.
Negative. I want them destroyed.
General, there's valuable intel there.
This is an intelligence failure, Laswell. It's not going to be a tactical one. There will be 500 enemy soldiers on that site by sunrise. We need a win fast.
Instead of using their intelligence to figure out where these missiles came from, General Shepard instructs Laswell and Task Force 141 to instead destroy the ballistic missiles, destroying all of the evidence, which I found immediately strange. Now, this time, Captain Price and Gaz are sent into Amsterdam, a port where they believe weapons are being smuggled by Al-Qatala. As we find out, the people doing so are a Mexican drug cartel. So now we know that Al-Qatala is working with the Mexican drug cartel.
Around using the cartel for transport.
Give me a name, John.
That's how I'm at.
Hassan's working with narcos.
Stand by.
So from here, we go to Mexico and we join up with two characters. Alejandro Vargas, who is a new member of Task Force 141 and a member of the Cowboys. We'll talk more about him in a future video. And Graves, the leader of Shadow Company. We'll talk more about him later on in the video. But here we end up capturing General Hassan, but are instructed by General Shepard to release him, as it would be a war crime to eliminate him. But we do get some information from General Hassan's phone.
The data hacked from Hassan's phone in Mexico went through a cell tower off the coast of Spain. Hassan was communicating with someone there when we caught him. Signals tracked to a hatchery used by the cartel as a smuggling front. It's remote and on the water.
Perfect to move illegal cargo,
including missiles. We need to get on the ground and see if the missiles are there.
So in a mission very similar to All Gillied Up, we sneak in and we end up finding two types of forces, Mexican drug cartel and Al-Qatala. However, that doesn't end up being the most surprising thing we find on this island. On top of finding weapons and drug smuggling going through the island, we also find crates of Russian weapons as well.
I got something. Cases and crates. All Russian.
What's in them?
They're empty. Recently unpacked.
Russia's aligned with Iran.
They may be helping Hassan directly.
This is getting bigger, John.
Now, to understand that, we have to go back to Modern Warfare 2019, because originally in Modern Warfare 2019, Al-Qatala and Russians were not working together. Roman Barkov's forces were trying to invade Urzikstan. Al-Qatala was a terrorist force within Urzikstan, and they did not like each other. This was until the events of Spec Ops and Warzone for Modern Warfare 2019, when Khalid al-Assad, one of the new leaders of Al-Qatala, and Viktor Zakhaev started working together, and Viktor Zakhaev ended up being the gun runner for Khalid al-Assad. Since then, Russia and Al-Qatala have kind of worked together. And as they mentioned there on that mission just off the coast of Spain, Hassan seemingly is working with the Russians and getting weapons and money from them. And specifically, as we find out at the end of the game, the specific people that they are working with are the ultra-nationalists run by Vladimir Makarov. Now at this point we have no intel on where the missiles are, but we do know they are working with Los Alamos. So from here we end up tracking down El Sinombre, the number one, the leader of Los Alamos, and we end up finding her and interrogating her. Now at this point we find out that Los Alamos isn't really worried about the terror or anything like that. They're worried about selling drugs. So she actually sells out Hassan in the location of the missiles very quickly for her freedom.
I can tell you where to find the missiles. When you return, I'll tell you where Hassan is. In exchange, you will let me go and get the fuck out of Las Almas. Se me largan ya.
Deal. Until then, you're staying right here.
She ends up giving us the location of an oil rig off the Gulf of Mexico. Upon getting there, they are trying to launch the ballistic missiles, but we get there just in time, and instead of the missile going off and hitting somewhere on land, we blow up the oil rig. It goes boom.
Let's enjoy our handiwork, Sergeant. Here we go. All stations, prepare for the boom.
It's on the way.
Good here, hermano.
Gold Eagle Actual Shadow 1. Good hit. Good hit. Missile and rig destroyed.
So after their victory on the oil rig, they head back to Alejandro Vargas's base. And upon getting there, things take a turn. As it turns out, the leader of Shadow Company isn't as nice as he may have seemed. And on top of that, there's a little bit of a twist.
What's this?
This is the immediate future. Step away from the gate.
What?
You heard me.
You're crazy. This is my base.
Not a base. This is a sizable covert facility, and I admire it. So I'm taking. You boys have been relieved. Thank you for your service.
No. I don't take orders from you.
Didn't Valeria say that? Now that makes me wonder what else I don't know about your affiliation with the drug lord.
What the fuck did you just say to me, pendejo? Lying briefs.
Don't do that. Don't do that. No one needs to get hurt here.
Are you threatening us?
Soldier, I don't make threats. I make guarantees. So let's not do this.
I'm calling Shepard.
General Shepard sends his regards. He told me y'all wouldn't take this well.
He knows about this.
He's put me in command of this operation from here on out. So y'all need to stand down. It's time to let the pros finish this. Why the hell are we talking like this is some kind of negotiation? It's not. I've got my orders. And now you have yours.
And who the fuck do you think you are, cabron? My men are inside!
I'm afraid not. Your men have been detained.
Graves, what the fuck? Go, Johnny! Get out of there! So, go!
So at this time, Ghost and Soap escape while Vargas is captured by Graves and held captive in a prison. By the time that Ghost and Soap end up getting to safety, they decide to go in, get Vargas, and save his team from the prison. By the time the prison escape is complete, Price and Gaz end up meeting up with them for extraction. At this time, we end up finding out exactly what's going on with General Shepard and Graves and Shadow Company specifically.
I uncovered redacted intel regarding a black bag operation conducted by General Shepard and carried out by Shadow Company. They were transacting American-made ballistic missiles to our allies fighting Russians in the Middle East. The mission did not go as planned.
So essentially what ends up happening here is Shadow Company is carrying ballistic missiles into the American allies in Iran. This is held out by Shadow Company, PMCs hired by General Shepard. Now, at this time, the Russians are working with Al-Qatala, and they hold an invasion to stop the ballistic missiles and take them for themselves. At this point, General Shepard is essentially embarrassed that his PMCs got taken out and his ballistic missiles got stolen. And instead of saying it to the government, he hides it up and hires Shadow Company to essentially cover his ass. So whenever we find one of these missiles and he says, don't look into it, it isn't because he specifically gave them to Al-Qatala and General Hassan, but rather he screwed up and they took his ballistic missiles and he didn't want to be embarrassed by it.
The Russians executed the entire squad and got a hold of Shadow's comms. They learned Shepard was behind it. Russia gave the missiles to Hassan. Shepard's intentions were good, but the shipments were illegal and off the books. He and Graves buried it. The cover-up is always worse than the crime.
So at this point, we essentially play cleanup. The next thing we do is get back to Graves, break into the facility. He is in a giant tank. We blow up his tank and kill Graves.
You did it, so you and me, hermano, brought a gun to a tank fight. Yeah, we did. Soap the ghost, and we're ready. Graves is KIA. How's Price?
Angry. Lost a good cigar in the crash. Pilot's okay too. Out.
Alejandro?
This is then followed up by getting information on where the last ballistic missile is. We find out it is in Chicago alongside General Hassan. We then go to Chicago and eliminate General Hassan.
Perfect show, LT.
You called it, Sergeant.
All stations. Hassan's down. Enemy KIA.
So this leads us to the ending of the game and where things really get interesting. So first of all, they tell us that Shepard is in the wind and Price wants to go hunt him down. However, Kate Laswell informs him that he's got bigger fish to fry, specifically referring to the ultra-nationalists and Makarov, in other words, the Russians. Now, what's weird about this is the fact that Kate Laswell doesn't know who Makarov is, however, Captain Price does. I think there is two possible explanations to this. First of all, if we go back to the ending of Modern Warfare 2019, we hear Captain Price say this.
Zakhaev wants Barkov's throne.
I almost buried him in Pripyat with Macmillan.
That was the father.
So to understand that, you have to go back to the original Modern Warfare trilogy, where we see Captain Price shoot at Imran Zakhaev, but only shoot off his arm. Now, what we know from Modern Warfare 3 is that the person driving the vehicle that Zakhaev escapes in is none other than Vladimir Makarov, potentially explaining why Captain Price would recognize a picture of Vladimir Makarov, but Laswell wouldn't, because the mission with Macmillan was pre-Kate Laswell. The other option is more interesting. If we go back to Modern Warfare 2019, one of the missions was a terrorist attack on Piccadilly Circus. When our team goes in, they end up finding a location of a safe house. They end up going into it, and this is the location of the mission clean house. Upon getting to the end, they find out a bunch of intel on who was responsible for the terrorist attack. Now, if we go back to Modern Warfare 2, there's once again another safe house owned by Makarov. When we go into the safe house, we can see a bunch of different plans for the mission No Russian, but also another plan for an attack on Piccadilly Circus, which Vladimir Makarov seemingly took responsibility for. Yes, it was in the previous trilogy, but this once again ties in Vladimir Makarov, and when they're in Clean House and see all the intel, they may have seen a picture of Vladimir Makarov, hence why the rest of Task Force 141 may recognize him. So this brings us to our post-credit scene and our second ending scene. This is where our terrorists get a text message from Makarov specifically saying no Russian. Now, the obvious tie-in to this is the original Modern Warfare 2 game with the mission No Russian. This is the terrorist attack on the airport and the one that really blew up Call of Duty, no pun intended.
Remember, no Russian.
Now, you may just be thinking, oh, that's a cool tie into the original Modern Warfare 2 and a nice little Easter egg, but it turns out that is not the reason for this phrase. If we remember back to the original Modern Warfare 2, the reason why Makarov said this is because he didn't want any of his men speaking Russian, hence the phrase, no Russian. The reason for this is because this terrorist attack was then framed on Americans to start World War III. So when we have this post-credit scene where a terrorist attack is seemingly taking place and Makarov sends out the text message, no Russian, seemingly that's once again to tell his men not to speak Russian, and something similar to Modern Warfare 2 is going to be happening where the Americans will be getting framed for this attack. And I think that gives us a pretty good idea of who is actually on the plane and who is holding that cell phone. But again, that's another video for another day. But if it's anything like Modern Warfare 2019, this story should continue in Warzone 2, in Spec Ops, and in DMZ. So as we get more information on that, of course I will keep you guys updated, and I can't wait for this story to continue. Until then, that is the ending of Modern Warfare 2 Explained. There was a lot to it, a lot to take away, and hopefully I filled in all the blanks for you guys. If you enjoyed the video, it is always appreciated if you hit that like button. New to the channel, make sure you subscribe and have notifications on, as it is the best way to stay up to date on anything Modern Warfare 2 and especially the story. If you enjoyed, hit that like button. Let me know what you think of the story. Let me know what you think of the campaign down in the comments. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard, and I want